Hey y'all, it's Liz and I'm back again with another video. Thank you so much for clicking and watching and joining me today. I am super thrilled for this video because it's essentially a celebratory video, really, because I made it through the first year of med school, y'all. I survived my first year. Just praise him. Y'all, it's, it was not easy, but I'm here. I don't look like what I've been through. Let me tell you that right now. I wanted to come on today just to share with y'all my first year experiences, let y'all know my thoughts, my experiences, and what I recommended for a friend, all of that. So I decided to make it interactive, and I asked on Instagram if y'all had any questions about my first year and anything that y'all wanted me to touch on specifically, and you guys submitted tons of questions, which I'm so excited to answer because I hit like just all areas of first year. And yeah, again guys, I'm just so relieved to be in this position because it was not easy. Okay, we're gonna get into that, but before we do, go ahead and subscribe if you have not already. It will help your girl out so that you're in the loop whenever I upload another video. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right in. So y'all, my first year really was something. It was definitely a whirlwind. It already came with so many challenges, and considering it was on Zoom, it just did not make it any easier. But like I said, we survived, and I'm here to tell the story. All of my friends that I've seen over the summer asked me, how has medical school treated you? How has it been? Like, what's been your experience? And it really has been a lot. One thing that I just hold on to is gratitude, and hopefully I'll get into my coping mechanisms in these questions. But yeah, I'm just thankful to be here. At the end of the day, I am so thankful to God, and he's really the only one that is pulling me through. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into these questions. So let's just start with this one. How many times did you sit down and just cry? Yeah, more times than one, I will say. There were a couple of times where, I just had to come into this room right here and just cry, just sprawl out and cry. And a lot of times it was just like when I was feeling like overwhelmed, or, just feeling like I wasn't doing enough. That's when I would just have to like shed a tear. But that didn't happen as often as I was afraid it would. And I will also say that they happened more towards the beginning of the year and not towards the end. So it means I was improving, right? Who knows? So someone asked about imposter syndrome, how I dealt with it, if I had any. And one thing that I really do appreciate about my first year of medical school is the fact that it actually was online. Even though it really wasn't like just the best, in the sense that we were all like just isolated. We didn't get to meet our classmates until like halfway through the year, literally. We didn't get to meet our professors and none of that. But I will say, like, it was really helpful when it came down to the imposter syndrome. I'm not one to have imposter syndrome in the realm of like school per se. I never had the thoughts of like, I don't belong here, I'm a fraud, they're gonna find me out any second. No, that was not my issue. But it was really just more so like comparison, and just kind of feeling like, dang, like these kids are like doing so much more. Like, I know I belong here, and I think it's just because like my journey to get here, as y'all know, has not been easy, and it took a lot of praying to get here. So being here, there's no doubt in my head that I belong here. It's just a matter of like, am I doing everything that I can to like make the most of this opportunity that I do have? Because as I look at other students, I feel like they're doing way more than what I'm doing in my current moment, right? So that was the issue that I had. But I will say with Zoom, what I was saying was that it kind of like helped. Like, it wasn't as bad because I wasn't around my classmates to hear them say, oh, well, I already read this whole chapter. I already reviewed all those cards and I did this many questions. Like, you don't hear all that. It's just like you and your books. So it was easy for you to just focus on yourself, focus on your lane. And then, yeah, so yeah, if it came down to anything, it was just like the feeling of comparison. And when that did come around, I did my best to just remain grateful. I know that most of the time, like, that comparison happens when I'm like, my eyes are wandering and I'm looking at what other people are doing. But when I'm looking down at what I have and like what God has blessed me with, like all those feelings, like just all the negative thoughts in general, just surrounding like that moment just begins to just like disappear, you know, because like at that point I'm focused on like God, I'm focused on the one that even brought me here in the first place. And I always tell myself like I could have been rejected nicely and easily and, you know, gone on with something else, but I'm here for a reason. Obviously God has me here for a reason, so like that's what I believe. So like again, like whenever I feel like bad or, you know, just like in a funk, I just remind myself like I am here for a reason. God is gonna get me through it. He wouldn't bring me all this way just to leave me. And I'm just grateful to be here because I know like some people would love to be in this opportunity, like love to be in this spot and weren't able to, but here I am. So make it work, right? So yeah, that's just what I dealt with mentally during the year. Okay, somebody asked what are my most used resources. My most used resources is pretty much like just holy grail, like what most medical students are using, and maybe you've heard of them, but Boys and Beyond, Pathoma, Sketchy, Pixarize is a relatively new one if you haven't heard of it. And then as for QBanks, USMLE RX, Amboss, and then BRS as well, which is like a little like review textbook thing. Did I say first aid? First aid, like that's a major one if I didn't say it already. Yeah, all those were like my non-negotiables. I know someone also asked me like which one would I 100% like recommend to get. Child, I use them all. I incorporated every single one of those resources into my daily routines. There were some times where I would be using Pathoma more than like Boards and Beyond. You know, if we're going through like pathology, I would focus on that. You know, I would just kind of change it up based on what I needed for the week, but those were non-negotiables. Now for the QBanks that I mentioned, RX and Amboss, you don't necessarily need to. I like the idea of having 2 QBanks because they're kind of written differently, and some like questions, some QBanks like do better in like certain areas like micro versus like cardio. It's really up to you, but both are great options. And Boards and Beyond also has questions on there too. But yeah, definitely worth all the coin that you will spend. It's worth it because they're super necessary, especially for like board prep. I mean, these are all board prep materials, just to get yourself like honed in on the high yield information that is for sure going to be tested on STEP and complex and the rest. So somebody asked, how did I plan out my days? Pretty much like I just kind of went through whatever my professors had for the week, like whatever we were covering, the topics. I would find like the corresponding videos from like Boards Beyond, Pathoma, Sketchy, and just watch those videos that corresponded with the information that we were learning in class. So I would go through like the lectures and then also go through those videos, unlock the cards that match those. So I don't know how I even forgot to mention Anki. Did I forget to mention Anki? Yes, I did, child. That is like probably my #1 resource. Anki and me were like this, okay? But yeah, I would just watch the videos, unlock the cards, watch the lectures, and just kind of like orient my day around that. But my actual routine was wake up at like 6:45, 6:50-ish. Just try to be at my desk by 7:30 because I would just take like that morning time, just like read my Bible, pray, journal, like get my mind like zoned in, and get to my desk by like 7:30, 7:45. Just study until like about 10, which is when I typically would go to the gym. Like we had like gym classes that we would go to, and then after that I'll come back at around like 11, 12ish. Eat like brunch, breakfast, whatever you want to call it. Study again until like 5 or so. Mind you, there's like classes in between all this too, depending on like the schedule for the day. So by 5 I would eat dinner, and after dinner I would study a little bit some more, and then go to sleep. And I don't even ask me what time I go to sleep, because let me tell you, it's definitely all over the place. I would like to be like packed up, closing the books by like 10:30 and like be like in my bed by like 11:30. Sometimes it happens like that, sometimes it don't, but it's okay. So I got asked a couple of times, how was my school life balance, like school social life balance. And at first, like, it kind of like I had to like shake myself and be like, Elizabeth, you need a break, okay? Because our school started July 1st, which was like pretty early for the schools in my state. And I had just been going until like October, and that was when I first like had like my real true like just like anxiety kind of moment where I just was not feeling it. I did not feel like motivated to do anything, and I was like, yeah, I need a break. And it was actually my friend who had told me, like, girl, one day off is not going to be what causes you to fail step like 2 years from now. And she was so right. But that was when I really like made it a point to like take one day off a week for just myself. And that day I remember I ended up like just taking a bubble bath, like getting some food that I liked, watching a show, watching a sermon, watching some YouTube videos, like just taking the evening off. And like I said, I do this every single week. It's pretty much non-negotiable for me unless I have like an exam or like something like really big. But yeah. And as for like the rest of my social life, not just like my me time, I do have friends, and they're great group of people that I not only study with, like we do great studying, like group studying and just teaching each other information, like literally like on the whiteboard, like explaining concepts to one another, but we also hang out too and go out to eat and just enjoy each other's company. Even like when The Bachelor came on, I remember like one of my friends, like we had like our Bachelor Mondays every Monday. After our quiz, we just go and just watch and just like forget about school for like that hour 30 minutes of the show, and that was great. So I mean, obviously medical school is like really demanding, so you have to do it all in moderation, but that's pretty much how I keep it balanced. Like just try to take out like once a week to just have me time, friend time, things like that, and just study in groups so that I don't feel like I'm just all completely alone all the time. And yeah, that's just how I balance it, girl. Sometimes it just don't exist some weeks, but I try my best. So were my professors willing to help like in undergrad? Yes, they were. I don't know about all other medical schools, but my school was great. Like my professors were really willing to like help us like via email, even like Zoom. I remember there was one time Yami and I just emailed our anatomy professor and was just like, please help us. And she ended up getting on Zoom and like going through some things with us, like literally one-on-one, which was awesome. They respond so quickly and really thoroughly too. Like there's one professor in mind that literally will send like just like dissertations of explanation, which is just like a testament to like his willingness and his eagerness to like help us and make sure that we understand everything. Somebody asked, what is my biggest challenge I had to overcome during my first year other than COVID? And honestly, like just like the overarching challenge was just getting used to medical school in general, just like the rigor of it, the demand, the volume of material, all of that. And it's obviously still a challenge that I'm still trying to overcome to this day. And I know by second year it's only gonna get like 15 times worse. But yeah, it's really just trying to like figure out like how to get through all the information that we need to get through quickly and make sure that we actually understand it so that we can do well. That's really like the biggest challenge that I'm currently facing. So hopefully by the end of second year, I would have felt like I overcame that challenge and I got it all together. Somebody asked for study tips in general, which is a good question. You know, obviously, like with med school, you're just gonna have to like tailor it to whatever works for you. Everybody says that, but it's true. What works for me may not work for you. But one general like study tip I can give is just being honest with yourself while you're studying. It's so important for myself to be honest because, you know, sometimes like I'm sure you can relate to this, like when you're studying and there's just like so much information, you're just trying to get through as much as you possibly can, and with that comes with like kind of just breezing through things that maybe we should take more time in, like, you know, just reading over and understanding. So you know, for example, like you have a practice question, you've done so many, and at this point you're just reading over the rationales without actually really digesting and making sure, or really asking yourself, like, did I really understand what that just said, you know, or did I just read it like super fast, you know? So there would just be times where I would have to ask myself, like, did you get it? Re-explain it to yourself. And, you know, studying with the group was perfect, because if there was, you know, something that probably like I didn't really get, it gave us a chance to explain to one another and, you know, ask each other questions. So yeah, just be honest with yourself as you're studying, because it would do you better to just get it like out the way now. And that may mean like maybe watching a video again, maybe reading over that section in a textbook if you didn't understand it the first way that you read it, or just going straight to a tutor. I had to go to my tutor pretty often. That was not a problem for me. You know, I would always be on there setting up appointments, because I just know there's no time to waste. And sometimes I spend so much time trying to just pretend that I got it when I really just need to go and ask for help. So yeah, another small thing that works for me, like towards the end of the year, I just want to throw this in, is like when I'm doing practice questions, and you know, in the past I would like unlock like maybe like 30 to 50 questions at a time, and I would get through it. And when it came down to like reading over it and like reviewing, I'd be doing so many at a time that by the time I like got to question number 10, I would already be so exhausted, because I don't know, I would just be like tired of just reading everything. So I found myself just kind of like rushing through the end of it. Anyway, towards the end I realized like just kind of doing small bits of questions like as you go was a lot like more productive for me. So like I would just do maybe like 5 questions at a time, or 6 questions at a time, which helped me get through it faster, like actually do the questions faster and then review it faster, because it was just a lot easier to digest, like smaller chunks to digest. So I don't know if that would help anyone, but it helped me. But of course, do whatever works for you. Somebody asked, how do I overcome burnout? And I think I've kind of touched on this. Just taking that time to give yourself some breaks, like just rest, cool it, close the books, give your head like a pause, just to digest what you had read, what you've been going over throughout the week. Because we really need those breaks. And whenever I do that, I'm able to just regroup and just get my energy back to like conquer another week. If I don't do that, I just get like actually like super tired, and nothing is able to like get into my head. So I guess that's like the symptoms of like burnout, like you're just like exhausted. So taking that time to recharge in any way that may be, for me, like I said, like taking a bath, getting my nails done. Oh, that was one thing that I religiously did. I would get my nails done like every so often. That is one thing that I did. But those are just the little things that help me like take it easy so I don't get burnt out. But child, I hope I don't get burnt out after only 1 year of medical school. Like I still have a long ways to go. So I guess somebody asked, what's the biggest thing I think I excelled at and the biggest thing I failed at and plan to correct? So I feel like if there's anything that I succeeded at, I think I succeeded in maintaining my motivation, even though obviously like I've touched on the fact that it did kind of get rough here and there, but even when maybe I didn't really perform as well as I wanted to on like a quiz or something like that, like I was impressed at the fact that I was able to just like keep going, and it never like stopped me from like putting my all into the next quiz or the next exam or whatever it may be. I didn't like allow like a bad grade, you know, to like get me down. Like I just used it as fuel to like do better in the next thing. So I was really impressed with my resiliency. You are gonna need a lot of that in medical school, because you're gonna face like so many different challenges that you're just gonna need to like come back from without missing a beat. I don't think I failed at anything, but one area that I wish I could like improve on is just my speed. I really want to improve on that my second year, just getting through the material even faster, more efficiently, like just studying smarter and not necessarily harder. I think like I was doing better at that towards the end of the year, and I really want to continue that in second year. So yeah, I know second year is going to come with its own challenges, and I'm prepared to tweak whatever I gotta tweak, but I just want to get faster because there's a whole lot of material coming my way. I'm gonna answer 2 more questions and then I will sign off. But somebody asked when is the best time to start studying for the MCAT, and honestly, girl, like, I couldn't even tell you because it really depends on whenever you plan on applying. They typically say to give yourself like 2 months or so, as undivided as possible, like with as less amount of stuff going on as you can. That's usually ideal, but that's obviously not the case for a lot of people. I know some people who take their exam during junior year with the intention of applying senior year and getting accepted by the end of undergrad. So it really depends on what your goals are. I know for me, I knew I needed to take out that extra time, so I studied in the summer between graduating and my grad program, so that 1 year. So I didn't take a year to study for it, but I used that gap year, a portion of that gap year, to study for it. But yeah, all in all, it really depends on when you want to apply. But I will say, I want to say like the worst time to take your exam, maybe you can kind of work around this, is like mid-June, because if you're applying that cycle, it may kind of get in the way of, you know, your processing of your application, because they want you to have your MCAT score and all that stuff in, and you know that takes like about a month to get in. So if you can take your exam like far out to when you're applying, that would be great, just in case if you need extra time to maybe retake it or, you know, get your application verified, all of that. So and last question, is there anything that I wish I did differently? Not necessarily. I think that I did the best that I could with what I knew and the resources that I had. I always say that. I put it all in God's hands, and like I said, I came out alive, thank God. I mean, obviously there's things that I wish, like I want to like tweak and improve and fine tune, but like anything that I did that I just absolutely like regret, like I think that I took my time when it came down to making certain decisions. I had like really awesome past experiences that helped make this year like that much more easier. Obviously it's still a very challenging coursework, but I do think that I did my best. So yeah, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the results that I got, and yeah, I think I'm pretty satisfied, and I'm looking forward to the next year and just seeing what all of that entails and how I can you know, approach it so that I am even more successful than the year before. So I think that is all the questions. Honestly guys, my first year was truly just a whirlwind. It really was something just that could only be experienced, but I'm really grateful for my grad program, like I said in previous videos. That just really helped prepare me for like this volume of material that I was gonna get. I never had that moment where I just felt like super overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, like this is too much, like I've never seen this much information before, I've never had to study this many hours before. No, like grad school, I know that it was still just a fraction of what medical school was going to be, but it still gave me a chance to get acquainted with like the magnitude of what I was about to experience. So grateful for that. Grateful for the friends that I made this year. Really good like people in my corner that I could just go to and just study with and hang out with. And of course my lovely roommate Yamio, who has been truly just like a rock through the whole thing. And yeah, like it's been great. My classmates in general, like our class, I think is a good one, and we're super resilient and super self-motivating. And yeah, I'm just really proud of us and what we've been able to accomplish thus far. Even the organizations I got to get plugged into and the leadership positions that I have now, I'm just really excited to just continue to be involved next year and so on and so forth. Just like really great opportunities that I didn't think I would get. So, and it's all God. It really is all God. I'm just grateful for what this first year has been. And like I said, I'm just looking forward to the next one. I know it's going to be a challenge. I'm really scared. Even the first module is our MSKT, musculoskeletal, derm, all that. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. So just pray for your girl. Pray for your girl. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Hopefully it was not too long. But thank you again for submitting all those questions. Really appreciate it. My Instagram is down below. I know y'all, you know, DM me every so often and just talking about how much you like the videos and how much they've motivated you and encouraged you in your journey to med school. And it's just such a blessing to read those messages. It's really encouraging to me, and it motivates me as well. And I just appreciate it, and I'm just so glad that like what I'm putting out is doing that for you guys, and I hope I can continue to do that for you guys. But yeah, feel free to DM me if you guys have any questions about medical school, first year, anything that I may have done that may help you out. So yeah, thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like, and I will see you guys in my next video.